Hi, this is Bill, and I'm back here with Max again. And Max is going to touch on what happened before and during the arrest of Levi Damon. And I'll give you Max again. Here you go, Max.
Well, Bill's asked me to touch base a little bit on the controversy surrounding all this and to really kind of show people why there's such a big ordeal about this. Uh, from the research I've done personally on this, I mean, Levi was a really good friend of mine, and when it comes down to it, through the people I've talked to and all the research I've done into this all together, is first off, I want people to understand that this isn't just based around Levi Damon. This is also in reference to Logan Hall, which just recently got shot in the back 9 times for apparently resisting arrest, which was at a distance from all the cops. And this is more based around police brutality and the excessive use of force that's going on here in Knox County, and the cover-ups and the way that they're trying to push this to the side and to almost not create an instance around this, which there is a very heavy instance having to do with all this. Well, Levi initially was taken to KCH by law enforcement officers.
And you say he was passed out or something? Yes. On the porch, and what happened there? Let's back up here before the cops arrested him.
Through my research and what I've been told, I mean, I'm no personal witness to this, but I do know people that are personal witnesses to this, and they have said that there was 3 to 4 people standing there with Levi when they initially found Levi. Was on Shirley Avenue. He was intoxicated. He was laid out, shirtless, shoeless, on his porch, and intoxicated. Multiple people were there trying to get him up and alert. And Levi, you're causing a disturbance. You know you really need to bring yourself together. And apparently there was one neighbor that just really didn't care for the guy for some reason. So she decided to call law enforcement and have him taken away. Well, law enforcement, normally if you're intoxicated and, you know, they would take you straight to the jail, put you in the drunk tank, leave you there to rot pretty much, and until the next day and you'd sober up. Well, they took him to KCH because they believed that he was beyond intoxicated and they supposedly were worried about his health. And so within an hour or two, Levi was released from KCH with pretty much just saying that he was drunk. He was a drunk individual at that point in time. They have no recollection of any type of head trauma in any way. If he did have a life-threatening head injury, it's pretty obvious that
they would have kept him.
KCH would have kept him
for
more surveillance.
Right then and there.
Right then and there. The witnesses that were at the scene trying to help Levi up said that there was no blood on the porch, which the Mount Vernon News has changed their story to say that there was. Multiple witnesses have said that there was no blood. After release, he was released. A few hours later, they pick Levi up back again, apparently for disorderly conduct at Dan Emmett School, where the newspapers reported that they took him to the jail. And during the intake process, supposedly he attempted to strike an officer, which in turn says that the word attempt alone means that he never landed a punch. He never landed any kind of physical harm to the officer.
Yeah, really. Attempted doesn't mean you hit someone.
Attempted to me means if they say freeze and he puts his hands up and he put them up a little too quickly, and they want to label that as attempted
threat.
assault on an officer.
Yeah, or a threat.
If you read any of the newspapers, if you read any of the reports on this, it is all attempted.
Huh.
There is never anything to where
he actually contacted or battered an officer.
The officer.
Yeah, I see.
The officer has no injury whatsoever.
Huh.
And according to this incident, law reports say that this all happened in the intake area of the jail.
Right,
The initial papers say that he sustained a head injury from an altercation in the intake at the Mount Vernon jail.
Huh.
The second newspaper completely changes that story.
Really?
The second newspaper says that he obtained that head injury before he even was picked up the first time.
Huh.
This is where the controversy lies. Is where did he inflict it before he got to the jail or after he got to the jail? Which KCH would not release Levi if he had a life-threatening head injury.
True. That is so true.
If they did, then the controversy would be surrounding the hospital and the doctors.
And it's not.
Initially, the reports all state, across the board.
Man, this is messed up.
A lethal, life-threatening head injury during an altercation with a police officer in the intake. Some reports say that he was even cuffed when this head injury
Yep, that's what
occurred.
I heard too.
If he was truly cuffed during this altercation, then how could he attempt to strike an officer?
Really? I don't get it.
At 4 o'clock in the morning, his family received a phone call saying that Levi was at, I believe it's Grant Medical, saying that he has a life-threatening head injury and that his family needed to get there as soon as possible.
Huh. Man,
with knowing Levi the way he is and being intoxicated with Levi multiple times,
right?
Levi's not an aggressive drunk.
He's not.
In any way.
Oh, really?
When Levi gets drunk, he's happy. He's got a bigger smile than you could ever think.
Really?
He likes to.
So he's not violent at all. Then he's just happy drunk. And
in my instances, yes. All the times that I've drank with Levi, he was always happy. He'd get drunk and he would get happy. He was the kind of guy that would go around the bar and hug people, or let me buy you a beer, or.
Now, how did his autism affect his daily life?
I personally didn't see much in the side of autism. But then again, I've known Levi for so many years, and Levi was such a unique individual. There was no one out there like Levi.
Right. Autism people are really smart, like you said earlier in the earlier video.
He was a very intelligent man, and
what a shame. What a shame.
I know it's just crazy to me how the media is doing everything they can to cover this.
Right.
To cover this all up. And with the BCI doing an investigation.
Yeah, for 8 weeks.
For 8 weeks, my personal beliefs is
they want it to calm down.
They want to get people to forget about this. And it's a subtle way of doing it. I mean, even if it only thins the masses. Because
that's what they did with the Logan killing.
Yep. They've actually, BCI supposedly has been doing an investigation into the Mount Vernon Police Department and the Knox County Sheriff's Office for more than just this instance.
Oh, really?
Multiple instances.
Oh, I see. Huh.
If you do research back through over the past 4, 5, 6 years, there's been multiple instances where BCI
has done investigations.
And done investigations.
Now, that is something that needs to get out. That is definitely something that needs to get out.
I don't think it's right I think that there was many other ways. If he was in intake, he could have walked out of the room and let him cool down for 5 minutes.
For real. If he was cuffed, what threat could he be, right?
If he was cuffed, cops, if if you're in intake, obviously you don't have any weapons of any type because they've already taken them.
You don't have anything, really.
You
Nothing.
don't have anything. They take your shoes.
Yeah.
They check everything that you have. They take
strip
your
you
hat.
naked.
They even take your jewelry from you.
Yeah. Even spray you for bugs.
There's a lot of instance around it. So I think that this really needs to be investigated. I think BCI really needs to get on top of it. I think instead of prolonging the experience and trying to find out, to try to slim the masses surrounding this instance, I think that a better approach to it would be if it is completely obvious that Levi had sustained head injury due to self-implication or infliction, then I believe that BCI should go ahead and at least release the video, because people are saying that.
What do you think about a independent investigation?
I believe that would be good. I believe they would be
because
non-impartial.
they did that before. I think in Ferguson. Yeah, they had an independent investigation.
I think that if they hired someone from out of state or even that has no affiliation with state boards, with state governments, local governments,
right.
that I think it would be a lot less impartial, and I think that we would get to the bottom of it. If we were to release a video, BCI is holding a video as best evidence around this case, and they won't release it because they say it is best evidence. Well, if it's best evidence and it blatantly shows that Levi sustained the head injury by himself and that it was self-inflicted, I believe that it would cause less of a disturbance and less of a controversy around this issue if they would go ahead and put the facts out there, the medical records from KCH stating exactly why he came in there, exactly what he was treated for, and why he was released the first time. And I don't understand why they would take 8 weeks to investigate this when, if it's blatantly obvious, then it wouldn't take 8 weeks.
No. It'd take maybe 8 minutes.
It would take 8 minutes to look at the video and say, oh, yeah, right there is where he got the head injury. Obviously, there is no cop involvement there. But seeing as how they're not doing that, then that is raising that suspicion. And the fact is that he sustained a lethal head injury in an altercation in the intake of the Mount Vernon jail, and they're trying to cover it up. You can watch it through the newspapers. You can watch it on Fox News. They are all trying to cover this up.
Well, hey, Max, I really appreciate your input on this, brother. And get all your friends together, and we're going to do a big old video, and I'm going to get this out there to my friends. I really love you, brother. Peace now. You take care.
Anytime, Levi. This is for you, brother. So we'll find it. We'll get the answers for you.
Bye now.